We have not enough water in Tanzania. See, most of the streams are dried out. Most of the rivers are getting dry every now and then.
So is there a change in the climate?
Yes, the change in climate in Tanzania is obvious.
If I can add something on top of this.
Yes.
You see, the technology in our country is not that advanced. If you want to save the environment, you need to know what resources your people need. And the energy resource is a big challenge to our country. People, they use charcoal. And the charcoal, you need to cut the tree to get the charcoal. And this charcoal, people, they cut a lot of trees. So saying that we are saving the planet, we want the environment to change, then we should have an option, alternative to this. But still we're using charcoal. So people, more and more people, they're cutting trees because it's the only available resource they can get to make their family survive. So most of us, we use charcoal.
Do you work with other countries in the region to try and sort these, the problems out? There must be.
Other countries, take the example of Zambia, for instance. Zambia also, they need the electric power from our country.
Yeah, but there must be about know-how. It's about sharing know-how as well. Do you share knowledge with other countries?
Actually, we do. Yeah, but the problem is the same. If you go to Zambia or neighboring countries, experience the same problem. You see.
I would like to say, in East Africa, we're trying to establish this East Africa Confederation to try to be together in case of any issue. We can solve this problem together. But Tanzania, it is more ecologically better off. So if we were dying, our fellows maybe died yesterday. So, yeah. So they have a lot to learn from us because geographically we have the mountains, we have the southern highlands where the weather is better. Still we have the forest there. So we receive more rains than Kenya and Uganda. So if we have a big problem, Kenya, they have less to do with this. So what I would say is just have collective effort to try to solve this, because if the environment is changing that much, there's no boundary in this. Yeah. So we have to work together. Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting to hear those things. But what do you think has caused that, the change in Tanzania? What do you think are the reasons for those changing, the climatic changes? Have you thought about it?
In Tanzania, Kesia, I would say there's a high exploitation of the charcoal. This is causing the people to cut the trees for the charcoal. That's first. And the second one, the growth rate of Tanzania now is quite big. It's 2.6, I think. And when you have more people, it's more resources needed to cut off these people. So they need areas for cultivation. They cut more trees. And now the drought has been frequently cases. Almost 5 years we have experienced less and less rains. So we're not doing very well. So more trees are dying, even natural, without being cut for the fuel.
But there must be a change. I mean, there must be. What about the rich and the poor in Tanzania?
It's estimated to be about 80% of Tanzanian peasants living in small areas, depending on cultivating by hand or you see.
Can he grow enough for his needs?
Not enough. Yeah, this is where the problem is. Yeah.
What about the land? Do they still have land? I think it was important to have land.
Actually, in Tanzania, there's no problem with land. The land is there, but the quality of land is getting poorer and poorer according to environmental problems. You see.
Unfortunately, the technology is not allowing us at the moment to have big projects of irrigation, like dams where people could drain water for irrigation. So we just rely on the rains, of which you don't know when it's going to rain. So the problem is there.
What would you want non-government organizations here to do in relation to Tanzania and other southern countries? And what would you want the governments to do?
I would be very happy that if you think I need to eat a fish, show me how to do fishing and don't give me a fish. Show me how to do a fish. And because more than 85% of our Tanzanians are peasant farmers. We need the dams for irrigation projects. That we can have sustained production of food and will not have to cry every day instead of relying on the rains. Let's have irrigation projects, and if the World Bank or whoever want to help us, I think we need such a thing.
Yeah, actually, in order to enforce what's happening in Tanzania is to empower the people. And the most important thing is education. You see, education, people must be educated enough so that they will know exactly the impact of the activities on their environmental issues. Because sometimes people are doing something that knowing that the things that they are doing might affect the environment, you see. For instance, when you tell someone that if you cut the tree, maybe this river is going to dry. So he can't understand what do you mean. Yeah? Can this tree sustain the river? You see, so what matters here is education, you see.
I would say that we need, both of us, me and you, we need to sit together because global issues, there's no boundary on that. So if for Africa, we lose the forest, we lose our vegetation, and no oxygen for this global warming, what is happening, if it's a single country trying to work itself, we can't be successful. So we should work together. Those haves and the have-nots must help together, must work together to come to the common solution to the planet problem.
And this is a problem. The corruption is really a problem in most of the countries in the world. Although we know so much that the environmental problems really affect people, but when it comes to the corruption, really, it's really a problem.
We have continents. We have African continent, Europe continent, but here we don't have, boundaries. Therefore, if these countries, Europe countries and American countries will say, oh, let them die. Of course, we will be the first, but they will be the second.
Let us unite and fight this climatic terrorism, climatic genocide. Let us unite together and fight this for the betterment of all. Thank you.